I gave this exact UX presentation to Visa and GoDaddy, both of which resulted in offers. Perfecting this presentation took more than 6 months. Over 10 interviews later, I found a script that worked. In this video, you'll not only hear the script, but also see what type of content you can visually show to get hired. At the end, I share some actionable tips and some mistakes that I used to make that you can avoid. Alright, let's roll. Welcome to my case study presentation. This prezi is on Bookem, but during the rest of the interview, feel free to ask about other experiences such as my work at the Jackson Laboratory. Hi, I'm Phoebe, and I tell stories through tailored experience design. This semester, I'm studying abroad in Kyoto, Paris, and Rome. With these perspectives, I'm able to tell stories that can be understood by everyone. With a team at Visa, I'm ready to provide customers with a safe, intuitive payment experience, specifically through digital content creation. Previously, as the design intern at the Jackson Laboratory, and now the lead UX designer at Change++, I collaborate with everyone: engineers, product managers, developers, to test, iterate, and ship products that serve diverse user groups. Beyond that, I'm currently a junior at Vanderbilt University studying cognitive science, architecture, and computer science. I'm also a daughter, a sister, and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu enthusiast. My background provides me with perspectives, and essentially, I'm a translator. I make sure that folks understand concepts no matter who they are, where they are. Now, I mentioned Jiu-Jitsu because I have approached product design the same as approaching Jiu-Jitsu. This is how. In Jiu-Jitsu, we use specific techniques based on the scenario. Are they about to tackle me? Are they defending? My responses are tailored to the situation. In design, I ask, who are we helping? What are their specific pain points? Because people deserve solutions that are tailored to their needs. Next, in Jiu-Jitsu, you can't spar alone. A regular round like wrestling involves 2 athletes. A regular Jiu-Jitsu gym, such as a dojo, involves many more. Design, like Jiu-Jitsu, means mingling with people. You gotta know how to talk to people, to listen to people. Whether it's addressing business constraints or taking action on critique, open communication is key. Finally, Jiu-Jitsu is human chess. What does that mean? The sport is a mix of strategy and improvising. I approach product design with this type of flexibility. Do we have an ambiguous issue? Let's define the problem together. Unsure if designs are effective? Well, let's test them out and iterate. As designers, we always strive for intuitive designs, but life itself becomes intuitive when we adapt to change. So yeah, in many ways, design is just like Jiu-Jitsu. So on the right is a photo of me in a Jiu-Jitsu competition against this 14-year-old that was insanely good. And then in the middle, I was getting promoted to blue belt, so this was me crying my eyes out and realizing, okay, things are about to get real, and I'm excited. So moving on to the case study, Bookem. As part of Change++, I worked on a team as the only designer and shipped volunteer and admin web portals for Bookem. Specifically, I designed components and built a design system from scratch, making sure that we aligned to the branding of Bookem. It was a very fun 5-month experience, and at the end, we were able to help around 300 Bookem users create a new design system. And after the project, I felt really grateful to present at Wix conference in front of around 50 New York designers. Who's Bookem? Bookem is a nonprofit in Nashville that distributes books to elementary, high schools in the hopes of improving youth literacy. And our goal was to create a software that helps facilitate their daily operations. One of the highlights is that we were able to visit them on site and meet everyone in person. And I know that this is a privilege that we really took advantage of, especially when it comes to user research. Our communication with Bookem consisted of both in-person and virtual meetings, many of which I led since I was the only designer on board. We met with Melissa, the CEO of Bookem, as well as other members to pinpoint exactly what their concerns are and how we can help. Through our communication, we learned that there were 2 main user groups, around 300 volunteers and 20 admin staff members. Here I learned that cross-functional collaboration can mean both working with the internal dev team and as well as external clients. After many conversations, we found one major pain point. They have a lot of forms. Volunteers must fill out a different form for every Bookem event. This can get tiring really quickly. Just like the purpose of a visa design system, we wanted to create a single source of truth. I asked questions like, how might we ensure that the form experience is intuitive and familiar across all parts of the website? In summary, our research helped us identify the following pain points of Bookem users. There were too many data points, not enough efficiency. At Bookem, volunteers found it hard to sign up for events and visualize their impact. And admin had a lot of trouble keeping track of data. Through this, we developed some objectives. How can we simplify the content viewing experience of Bookem users? Essentially, we wanted to help the 2 user groups, volunteers and admin, to stay informed and perform tasks efficiently. So this includes reducing the number of forms, making sure that we have transparent numbers displayed, and providing a central source of truth. Now this is where it gets fun. Our clients had many great ideas. We got dashboards, native apps, even chatbots. I mean, they were asking for ChatGPT before ChatGPT even existed. However, we had a pretty strict timeline and technical constraints. So we helped clients prioritize features to decide on what to gear our solution towards. We based it on the most typical actions performed by volunteers and admin, as shown here on the example user flow. And here are also some photos showing our team sprints and sketches, whiteboard sketches of the information architecture. Ultimately, we shipped 2 web portals. We implemented both mobile for convenience and desktop for productivity. This solution helped users perform daily tasks such as signing up for events or keeping track of volunteer data. The following slides are some design process highlights. So one of the top factors that I made sure to include as a designer is accessibility. The majority of Bookem volunteers consisted of middle-aged to senior users. This meant that the design components had to be big, they had to be bold and intuitive. Of course, I adhered to the WCAG standards. Throughout, I presented design system updates weekly to the team and sought feedback for iteration. Next, why icons? Well, humans are visual creatures. Also, icons convey Bookem's friendly and playful branding. For example, the hex codes are the same and the same typeface and font is employed throughout the entire application. Next, there were tons of forms. That's a lot of information. I used this concept called progressive disclosure, where I presented less information on multiple pages so that users can comprehend things more easily. And this concept was inspired by the book 100 Things Every Designer Needs to Know About People. It's a pretty cool read and written by a psychologist. We received feedback in 2 ways. First, we presented the designs directly to clients. And second, we gathered data through usability testing. Here, I understood the power of data. At Visa, I would ask, how can we leverage data to build better payment experiences? For example, we can update Visa's brand repository based on the most regularly used assets. But back to the case study, after conducting 15 user surveys, I iterated on typography, user flow, and feature prioritization. This led to one key challenge. First, stakeholders didn't always submit their user feedback on time. To combat this, I took a step back and thought, if I was a stakeholder, from a business perspective, what would be my greatest priority? Probably solving actual operational issues. So I helped stakeholders understand how their help directly impacted our ability to solve their pain points. By iterating on feedback, we were able to create a more tailored solution for them. Another challenge that we overcame was the number of requests. So We honed down and decided to implement a couple of features and do them well, rather than a bunch of features poorly. This summer, I felt super grateful to present at a Wix conference in front of 50 designers in New York City. I iterated on the critique and feedback from the session, improving the portal's vision accessibility, iconography, and the design system. This is one of our key metrics. 95% of users found it easy to use the portals. To wrap up, I realized 3 things. First, you gotta understand your users and develop a tailored solution for them. Second, things come up. Plans can switch. I understood that change is the status quo, and we must be agile and respond to the situation quickly. Finally, I made sure that the solution is accessible. Gotta ensure that our users can actually use our products. Or in the words of Visa, I believe in uplifting everyone, everywhere. Here are some team testimonials, and feel free to ask questions about Bookem, but also about Jax. At this internship, I improved an existing design system and worked with a team of designers, researchers, marketing specialists to redesign a resource page. And that's a wrap. Any questions? How we doing? That was the presentation. So tip number 1, we have to tell a story. Notice how in the beginning, I started with jujitsu. This is just a sport I've been doing for the past 2 years, and it is basically my life. But I drew some parallels between jujitsu and design. I'm a human, you're a human, recruiters are human, we're all human. So show your human side. What is one hobby that you have in your life that you can tie to design? Another important thing is that every step of this UX presentation, make sure to include photos or visual elements to supplement your presentation with visual storytelling. Number 2, I did have a script. And this is how you can prepare a script for your presentation, but make it seem like you don't have one. Alright, so let's hop on to Google Meet. Here we are. Hello. This is the case where you are presenting through an online conference tool such as Zoom or Google Meets, which is what happens most of the time nowadays. So we're on Google Meet. I used Google Slides to create my presentation. At the bottom here, I can include any notes I want to. So on each slide, I have either paragraph scripts or bullet point scripts. Make sure you have a good mix of scripting and improvisation, because you want to include all the important details, but make it seem like a natural conversation. Bullet point is the way to go. You can quickly glance at what you're about to talk about, but also add in some details along the way on the fly. Let's go back to Google Meets. We're gonna press present now, and here I'm gonna select the Chrome tab that has my Google slide presentation. I'm gonna press share, and then this is exactly what they see. You wanna go back to Google Slide and then press this arrow next to slideshow and then press presenter view. So now all they see is actually your slide deck. They do not see the presenter view, which is right here. And as you click through the deck with your arrow keys on your laptop, you will see your script, but all they see is whatever is on your deck. Mistake number 1, spending too much time on the details of the project itself. Recruiters want to understand how you think as a designer. What is your exact design process? How would you face certain challenges, such as pushback from engineers or a sudden shift of prioritization from leadership? When you get into the weeds of the project,
we built a web portal that has 10 different pages, 20 different features, 50 different call to action buttons.
No one cares. Instead, tell stories about how you worked with researchers, how you made user testing actually happen, or why you included a dark mode at all. Make sure to take some time to tie in your experience, your design processes to the listing that you are applying to. Mistake number 2. Sometimes we put too much information on one slide. You might have heard of this term, which I actually mentioned in my UX presentation, progressive disclosure. Humans in general Not just Gen Zs, humans in general have a short attention span. How can we present the most important information to our target audience? Understand, are we presenting to a general recruiter? Or are we presenting to a design hiring manager who has 20 years of design experience? Your presentation is going to look very different depending on who you present to. All right, take some time, let all of that osmosis through your brain. Again, this is only for inspiration. There are many ways to present a UX portfolio. Let me know how you plan to present your case study, what you will include, and what you will leave out. You are now ready to build your portfolio and ace your next UX presentation. Remember, just breathe and tell the story. You got this.